Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Topoco Lodge. Summer is the time for family reunions, church reunions, corporate getaways. They can handle it all, not to mention if you're just looking for a great weekend getaway or a midweek getaway. Topoco Lodge does a tremendous job at just a historic facility, perfect for big groups, small groups, all types of accommodations in terms of they have cabins, they have suites, they have rooms in their lodge. Plus, you get dining at the Topoco Tavern. Check out Topoco.com. I need to say Topoco a few more times so it's stuck in your head. Topoco.com to learn more about Topoco Lodge. All right. Let's start by taking a look at the defensive averages of the last 4 years. SEC East teams that managed to get to 500. On average, here's what they did in terms of giving up points, defensive scoring. They've been giving up 24 points per game versus SEC foes. Tennessee last year against SEC foes gave up 34.8, basically 35 points per game. They need to improve. They need to improve by 2 touchdowns on offense. Need to improve by 11 points per game on defense. So that's 88 points better over an 8-game schedule. Gentlemen, can they do it?
Wow.
Seems steep to 11, especially if you're thinking the offense isn't going to be a night and day switch. That could leave your defense in trouble.
I don't see it. I can see them getting incrementally better, but I just don't see that big of a jump.
I think we could maybe see the improvement by the later part of the season, assuming health, and that's not something I should necessarily do right now based on how things have gone the last couple of years. But early on, when you have to play West Virginia, you have to go through that month of October. That's going to be really tough. And look at the spring. Tennessee's defense showed that it had a lot of improvement to make. So by November, maybe you're in better shape if you're healthy enough. But early on, there's still a lot of room to grow.
I think this defense is capable of getting that number below 30. I don't know that you can get it down to where it needs to get to be in that range, to be a
24.
Yeah, 4-4 looking SEC team. That's a tough sell for me. I think they don't get there, but I do think under 30 points would be at least a nice jump that would at least give you a chance to win some games that last year you didn't have a chance to win.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan on that. I do think this, while offensively I don't think they're going to be any great guns, they are going to slow things down. I think they'll play more field position, therefore, in that reason, I think they'll be better coached defensively. So I think their defensive numbers will be better. They won't give up a ton of points to Vanderbilt. I don't think they will to Missouri. I may be wrong. But I think that you can see under 30, I think is a reasonable goal. But to get to 24 something, I don't think so.
I think under 30 is a reasonable goal, and if you can shave a touchdown off of that, you've done great things.
Yep.
Oh, you've put yourself, you were already in games last year, so touchdown difference can flip some losses to wins. We mentioned in the last segment, they need to get, one, it was clear from the stats that rushing is more important. In terms of reaching 500 in the SEC, the rushing yards is what's important. You need to improve by 80 yards. You need to up your production by 80 yards to be in the average of teams that make it to 500. Let's take a look at their rushing defense, what it has to do. They have to get 100 yards better per game.
Wow.
In other words, they need to shave 800 rushing yards off the tally from last year, if I'm doing my math right. 162 yards per game is what SEC teams get, what they give up to SEC East teams. It's hard to say. SEC East teams that finish 500 or better, on average, give up 162 yards per game on the ground to other SEC foes. Tennessee last year gave up 262. I don't see there's any way in the world.
And that doesn't include Georgia Tech.
That's right. Georgia Tech's not in that. Yeah, this is not inflated. These are just SEC numbers.
Yeah, so when we heard that, Georgia Tech, their offense is just a fluke because of that.
Yeah.
It was not. They had issues all season long.
Well, you could say Tennessee's defense wasn't a fluke. Pretty consistent.
We can quickly say there's no chance.
And the goal there would be to get to
I don't see how
200.
you get 100 yards better.
Get
But
under
the points per
200.
game
Now-
is 30, under 30. The goal here is 200.
The switch to a 3-4 complicates that too. We saw it in 2012. This team's got better personnel. They're better equipped to make that switch, but the switch to a 3-4 I think does make it even harder to get there.
Yeah, Bob, you
I was just going to say some teams' stats got a little bit inflated because they were just running out the clock. They were running the ball, running out the clock. So you can
That's fair.
see improvement just by
100
being
yards
in the
per
game.
game.
Oh, no, 100 yards is pretty tough.
All right, then let's see if I can speak my way through this one. SEC East passing yards. This, again, not as big a deal here. The average 500 team in the East over the last 4 years has given up 207 passing yards per game to SEC foes. Tennessee last year gave up 178, 179 passing yards per game. You can improve. I mean, you need 30 yards better, basically the same that you need. You need to improve by 30 yards on offense, improve by 30 yards on defense in the pass game. I think both of those, clearly compared to the other numbers, that's the most doable.
They were better.
They were better.
They were 30 yards better.
30
Better, yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
this was that misleading stat where Tennessee was among the nation's leaders in pass defense last year, but it was
Because everybody was rushing.
like
Because
Bob was
everybody's
saying,
running the
they were
ball.
running
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
So in this case, that number's probably going to go up. It's just a matter of how much.
Yeah, don't flip your numbers on your script.
Yeah.
It always screws you up there. The actual point here that it's not as daunting because everyone ran on Tennessee. The point was good. I flapped my numbers right there. All right. Anyway, so you don't have to improve. You need to get 30 yards worse to be average with those teams. All right.
And I think they'll achieve that.
All right. When we come back, let's talk recruiting. Jeremy Pruitt, Tennessee's in the top 20 right now. Nothing to complain about there. What's the biggest positive that our two recruiting gurus have seen on the Pruitt team? What's the biggest negative from these guys? And also, people coming into the state and getting some players. We'll talk about that. Come on back on the Sports Source.